Do you know that the richest human being who ever lived was an African king? And he made Europe beg for his gold? If you didn't, subscribe to Afri Untold right now, because we tell the African stories nobody taught you. Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire from 1312 to 1337. His empire covered modern Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Niger, and parts of Nigeria and Mauritania. It was the largest empire on earth at that time, and the wealthiest by a margin that has never been matched in human history. In 1324, Mansa Musa made his pilgrimage to Mecca. He didn't travel quietly. He traveled with 60,000 people, soldiers, servants, scholars, heralds, and 80 camels each carrying 300 pounds of gold. The total gold he brought equaled approximately 27,000 pounds. The procession stretched as far as the eye could see. When he passed through Cairo, the Egyptian economy collapsed. He gave away so much gold so freely that the price of gold in Egypt dropped by 25% and didn't recover for 12 years. One man's generosity broke an entire country's economy. His arrival in Mecca was the event of the century. News of the African king who was so wealthy, he crashed economies simply by passing through spread across the known world. European traders, Arabian merchants, and Asian diplomats all wanted to know, who is this man? European merchants who had previously set the terms of every trade negotiation found themselves in a completely unfamiliar position. They needed what Mansa Musa had, and he didn't need anything they could offer. For the first time, European traders were begging an African king for access to his resources. His generosity was legendary. He built mosques wherever he traveled. He funded scholars and libraries. He paid salaries for Islamic teachers to educate his people. He brought architects from Spain and Egypt back to Mali to build monuments that still stand today. Under Mansa Musa's rule, Timbuktu became the intellectual capital of the world. The Sankore University had 25,000 students, when Paris had fewer than 20,000 people. Its library held over 1 million manuscripts. Scholars from across the world came to learn in Africa. European mapmakers of the 14th century placed Mansa Musa at the center of their world maps, sitting on his golden throne, holding a golden orb. In an era when Europeans barely acknowledged African civilization, they could not ignore the man whose wealth made their kings look poor. The economic damage his visit caused to Egypt was not minor or temporary. Historians who study the medieval economy have documented 12 years of economic disruption directly caused by the amount of gold Mansa Musa introduced into the North African economy in a single trip. The buildings Mansa Musa commissioned with his wealth have lasted 700 years. The Jingwereber Mosque in Timbuktu, built in 1327 by an architect he brought from Spain, still stands today. His investment in permanent institutions outlasted the empire itself. His image appeared on the Catalan Atlas of 1375, one of the most important maps of the medieval world, labeled as Lord of the Guineas and identified as the richest king in existence. Europe knew who he was. They just didn't want the world to remember. While Mansa Musa was building universities and making pilgrimages that crashed economies, European kings were fighting over territory worth a fraction of his wealth. The richest men in medieval Europe would have been considered modest by Mali Empire standards. Mansa Musa's legacy extends beyond his personal wealth. He demonstrated to the world that African civilization was not primitive or underdeveloped. The Mali Empire, under his leadership, was the most sophisticated state on earth, by every measure that mattered. The richest human being in all of history, not a European king, not an American billionaire, an African emperor who made economies collapse simply by traveling through them. Do you know stories like this? Subscribe to Afri Untold for more forgotten African stories every week. These stories deserve to be told.